when somebody has an idea and they create something, it's really not just their idea. It's a collaboration of the ideas of humanity.
Absolutely.
We all have influences, and we're all inspired by things. And just because if I have a great idea, that didn't just come from me. That's a collaboration of ideas that I've gathered
Everything
from humanity.
that you've seen,
Exposure.
experienced,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
been with. You know, it's like taste, like a filmmaker or a musician is going to
Right.
Probably emulate the stuff they like.
That's it. And maybe, but I can't do the math that a mathematician would do or a physicist would do, but I can have ideas and I can have intuitions, and we're still part of a collective body of life.
Right.
So we're just having people discuss these ideas and think about them will inspire the people that can do the math.
Right.
And it will give them more ideas. And it's just, we're all working together to understand, to figure out what these things are, to solve these problems.
Reminds me of a quote from Jean-Luc Godard, a filmmaker, French filmmaker, and he said, "It's not where you take things from, it's where you take them to." And when I read that, really, gosh, that just really resonated with me, and has for decades since I was studying film in college. And that concept, it's true for all of us, right? So we look at something like the technology that's used in an MRI machine, right? That they'll go in, and if you have if you busted your knee, they'll put you into the tube and look at that. Well, that technology was originally designed to look at the stars, right? That technology was originally designed to look out. And it took a creative mind to say, hey, you know what? What if we turn that thing around? What will it do?
It's interesting you use Godard because he's a genius in what he did with the filmmaking construct of storytelling. We were all used to seeing a certain thing shot a certain way, which is still how it's kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And stuff, but what he did was he kind of played jazz with it. It's like, well, I'm going to show the character that's talking, but their lips aren't going to be moving. And then they're still going to be having the conversation, but they're going to be walking in the park. And then now we're back in, like he just played literally jazz with the camera angles, with everything. It upset everybody in the 60s, and it was great for that reason.
But now you've got filmmakers who will study Godard, right?
Right.
And they will have elements of that type of storytelling in a new movie produced in 2021. You or I, we won't even recognize it. We won't even realize that that's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're so immersed. But when he did that, back in the 60s, it was, so he took things from one place and said, hey, you know what? Here's the standard. We're going to do this. We're going to do this other thing with the standard.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And we as as business owners, as business people, like it's our responsibility to do those things in order for us to make progress. Right.
Yeah.
We could have a cookie cutter approach that we could use to sell our widget, whatever that is, right? We could have a cookie cutter approach, but then what if we say, hey, you know what? We're gonna go 180 degrees from that and try it a completely different way. Instead of focusing this way, we're gonna focus this way, which may on the surface look bananas, but we have to take those chances and risks in order to discover the new way of doing things, right?
Yeah.
Like being the Godard, and then you start with like you don't have Tarantino without Godard. Like they don't exist together. I mean, would you say that, Jesse?
I would, in the way of like how someone is influenced by something, and if Tarantino never influenced Godard, it would influence the films that he made.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at that. So
Well, you could even go on a simpler idea would be, say you had a really incredible idea for a painting, but you had no artistic ability. Like you couldn't paint it yourself, but you had this really vivid idea of a painting that you wanted. So you go to a really good artist and you explain that idea to that artist the best way you're capable of.
They have a term for that kind. There's an artist that does just that, and they call themselves an artist because what they do is they come up with the idea, then they go to technicians who can build it,
Yeah.
and then they produce it.
And that's a good to me that's a good example of how we share information, because
Right.
the idea can start in one person's mind
For sure.
and then be expressed by someone else who can express it the way they want it expressed.
Right.
And
can be
everything
perfected.
works that way. That's how businesses work. You know,
Right.
you don't if you're an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily do everything in that business. You find the people that can do those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And those are, those are your tools. Those, that's where the value is,
Yeah.
in your employees, the people that can help you accomplish the goal.
So that's why I think it's crazy the way we value people in our society, because just because someone doesn't seem to be contributing a whole lot doesn't mean that they're not. Just because someone else is more capable of expressing an idea doesn't mean that they created that idea or it just came from them, or the other people, the millions of other people that help contribute to that idea are less valuable.